And that's why it's such an honor today to be recognized by a community in the memory of such a principled and tireless advocate as Frances Perkins. I took this time this summer to reread The Woman Behind the New Deal, and I'm still in awe of who Frances Perkins was and how large and pervasive her impact has been on the modern American workplace. While history is often told as a story of a few great men, I've always found inspiration in the fierce and tireless women who have dramatically shaped the political landscape. Just imagine Frances Perkins stepping into Albany in those cigar-filled halls, advocating for policies to help improve workplaces before she even had the right to vote. They stand out for their accomplishments alone, these women, but at the same time, the hurdles that they went through, that they overcame, are even more inspiration to me. Role models like Frances Perkins continue to inspire generations of young leaders into action. In particular, I think a lot about our students when we have our summits up in Hyde Park. And we talk about Eleanor, of course, and we talk about Franklin, of course, and we talk about Fala a little bit. But our students are also so inspired by some of the unsung heroes of the New Deal, especially our Mount Holyoke students who rave about Frances Perkins and the gumption that she showed in her advocacy for working Americans. My generation owes so much to the legacy of social reformers and public servants like her. The policies they designed made the modern state we live in today and made room for the economic progress that gave my parents and me a better life. But I would be remiss not to mention that there's still so much more we can do to expand upon that legacy. New Deal programs were bold in their vision in uplifting struggling Americans. Yet, as we all know, people like me, my grandparents and great-grandparents, were often not included in those programs. We live in a time in which we can build reforms that are even more inclusive than those of the past. Frances Perkins used her experiences to build policies that uplifted women and children and families as well as workers at large. Her experiences were unique and made her more effective. She is proof that, as we like to say in the Roosevelt Network, who writes the rules matters. And we still have that struggle of agency today to bring more women and more people of color into the political process and produce outcomes that uplift them. We must strive to empower the most marginalized by race, gender, sexual identity, religion, and of course, class, so that they can have agency to determine their own destinies. I spent the last 5 years working with young people who are burning in their desire to create political change, and yet frustrated by the fact that the people in the halls of power don't quite look like them. At this time in US history, we are balancing on a knife's edge. The threat of a backslide is real. White supremacy still terrorizes this country. Just look at that rally in Charlottesville last Friday. White nationalists felt no need to wear hoods. We cannot let the guise of economic anxiety prevent us from pursuing what real social justice is. We must remember and grapple with all of our history, as I'm sure the crowd here is wont to do. And we must do this in order to move forward because there is opportunity. Deindustrialization, the future of work, it's affecting people in Akron, Ohio, but it's affecting people in Detroit, Michigan. It's affecting people in Conway, Arkansas, and it's affecting people in East New York. The reality is, our future and the future of the American workplace can actually help workers of all races, of all genders, of all backgrounds. And we have a responsibility to help pursue that, because racial justice and economic justice are deeply intertwined.